In this lesson here, we're going to learn how to do bar chords. Now, bar chords are the single most difficult aspect of learning to play the guitar for beginner guitarists that there is. What it means by a bar is that the first finger actually does a bar across all 6 strings like that, and then the other fingers, the second, third and fourth, then finger the chord depending on what the chord is. Now, they're tricky because you have to use the flat of the first finger and the tips of the other fingers to get it right. Now, it takes a lot of strength in the hand, and you'll find that these muscles down in here and especially up here will really start to ache quite a bit, and especially down here and behind the thumb, and this particular muscle here will really get very sore. Now, like I say, they take a lot of strength. Now, it will be a couple of months or so before you really have these chords worked out properly. But in the meantime, let's learn them. The first type of chord we're going to learn is what's called an E-shaped chord. It's called an E-shaped bar chord because what we do is we take the shape of the E chord, which as we know is just our little E chord like that, and we actually make it into a bar chord. Now, for example, if we were to move that E chord up a fret, swap our fingers around so that where our first finger was, our second finger goes there. Where our second finger was, we put our third there. And where our third finger was, we put our fourth there. We still have an E-shaped chord like that, similar to like that, just up a fret. And then we put our first finger down for the bar. That's an E-shaped bar chord. Quite tricky to do and takes a lot of strength. When you play them, put the hand down and then try all the notes one by one. Don't be surprised if you can't get them all to ring through, because it is very, very hard. So that's what an E-shaped bar chord is. We take the notes of an E chord like this, we play them without our first finger, like that. We move it up to wherever we want to go, and then we put our first finger down flat as a bar. The things to watch for is that the first finger should hang over the edge of the fretboard just a little bit there. You don't have to be too precise about putting it down like that because that makes it very hard. So it should hang over just over the edge like that. It should be down nice and firm, and even if you put your first finger down on the bar and then play all the notes first and then put the rest down from there. So if we do it back in the first position here, we'll put our first finger onto the bar chord on the first fret. Then we take our second finger and put it onto the second fret of the third string. We take our third finger and place it onto the third fret of the fifth string, and our fourth finger onto the third fret of the fourth string. There we go, we now have a bar chord. Now, with these new bar chords, you might find yourself asking a couple of questions about the chord diagram for it, so I'll explain that to you now. As you can see on the screen, there it is, and it says F major, which is our bar chord back here where we've got the bar on the first fret, and then the rest of the fingers in the E shape like that. Now, what we've got on it, we've got 2 black dots there for the representing fingers, which both have the number 1 beside them, saying the first finger. One's on the first fret of the first string, and the other one's on the first fret of the sixth string. They're joined with a long curved line. So what that means, that's actually the bar. So it means to put down the bar like that. And then the other fingers are just the second, third and fourth down as normal into our E shape like we learned before. Now, you can also see that the note on the first fret of the sixth string has a big X through it. What that means that's the root note. It's what's called the root note. Now, the root note is this out of the chord here. This note here on the sixth string is called the root note. So if we were playing the chord up here, then this note here would be the root note. So back here, it's this one here. Now, the root note relates to the notes on the sixth string. So we actually have to learn the notes on the sixth string. So we know that the open is an E, and the one on the first fret there is actually an F. Moving up from there, we have an F sharp, then a G, and then on the 5th fret is an A, on the 7th fret is a B, and on the 8th fret is a C. So if we wanted to play a G chord as an open chord, what we would do is make the root note a G note, which is on the 3rd fret. That's E, F, F sharp, and then G on the 3rd fret. And then if we play the bar chord there, we're now playing a G chord. If we wanted to play a G sharp chord, we would go to the 4th fret. Where's the G sharp? So, now we can start to play sharps and flats. So it's probably appropriate that we actually learn a little bit about sharps and flats. So I'll tell you. A sharp is 1 fret up towards the body of the guitar, and a flat is 1 fret back. So if we have a chord like the G chord we just learned before, which the root note is on the 3rd fret, and then we're playing the chord here. If we move back 1 fret, the whole hand, back towards the nut of the guitar here, we're now playing G flat. If we go back to the G, and if we now move up 1 fret towards the body of the guitar there, we're now playing G sharp. So that's all that sharp and flat mean. So this is an F chord here, as we know. Move it up 1 fret, you've got an F sharp. Move Move it up another fret, you've got a G, but go back one fret from the G and you've got a G flat. So G flat and F sharp are actually the same note. This is the F sharp or G flat. And it depends which key we're in as to whether that's a sharp or a flat. More of that will be explained later, but just accept the fact that the notes share the same name for the time being. So, let's quickly go through what we have then. We have a bar here, anywhere up the thing, which has the root note. We then have the fingers down into the chord shape there, which makes it a chord. If the root note here is an F, we now have an F chord. If the root note is a B flat, like it would be on the 6th fret there, then we have a B flat chord. This is why bar chords are so exciting, because previously we couldn't have a B flat open chord. There's no such thing actually. So you have to play bar chords to play B flat chords. So it means that all those songs you might have been trying to play, which in the middle of it has a G sharp or a B flat or some crazy chord like that, and previously you couldn't play it, now you can, because you can use the bar chords for it. So what you have to do is learn the notes on the 6th string. You have to learn E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and then E on the 12th fret, where it's repeated from there up. You should endeavour to learn the sharps and flats in the middle and really try to get the root notes off by heart, and also be practicing holding the bar chords down and playing them and learning that that's a G chord. Now that we can play our bar chords, we know what the first finger is and how to bar it, of course, across the strings. We also know the root notes on the 6th string and how they relate to our bar chord, by that, of course, the 6th string note and any chord being the root note. We can start to play some different shapes. By different shapes, what I mean is with the E-shaped bar chords that we talked about, there's 4 shapes we can use. We can use the major, the minor, the 7th, or the minor 7th. Remember that A is short for A major, so don't get too confused about the majors. For example, this here is an F, also known as F major, F for short basically. But now what we can do is we can now make that chord into an F minor relatively simply. All we do is just play our main shape again, so we put the bar down, and then our 3 fingers down there, of course, like we did before. 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string, 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 5th string, and 4th finger, 3rd fret, 4th string. So we've got the bar chord there. Now all we do is lift off our 2nd finger, just pull this one here straight up like that, and we've made it into an F minor chord. Let's listen to the difference in the sound. That's the minor, that's the major. Quite a difference in sound there, as we've talked about major and minor before. So that's how to make a bar chord into a minor chord, just by lifting the 2nd finger. So if we go back to our B flat again that we did before on the 6th fret, so we're up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the B flat, so that's our bar. Put down our chord, and then if we lift off the 2nd finger, we're now playing a B flat minor chord. Now that's a chord that we could not have previously played before. There is no open chord for it. This is the only way to play a B flat minor. So we're opening up new chords and new possibilities. We'll go back to F again because it's nice and easy to work with on the 1st fret. We'll put down our F again and we'll try a new shape. The next shape is going to be a 7th shape. To do a 7th shape, all we do is lift off the 4th finger. Just as we lift off our 2nd finger before for the minor, this time we're going to lift off our 4th finger. So we'll just take the 4th finger off like that. Let's play the chord. And that's an F7 chord now. Or if we were to go back to the 6th fret, play that same shape. There's our main shape with the 4th finger lifted off. That's a B flat 7th chord now. Real nice sounding chord. One more shape to learn. We'll go back to the F again on the 1st fret with our bar, put the fingers down as normal into the major, and if we lift off both the 2nd finger and the 4th finger, so the 2nd finger comes off, the 4th finger comes off, we now have an F minor 7th chord, and they're very lovely chords, the minor 7ths. Very good for jazz work and things like that. But that's a minor 7th chord, so we could do that anywhere. If we go up to the 3rd fret, play the bar there, put down our G, lift off the 2nd finger and the 4th finger, and we have a G minor 7th chord now, which again is a chord that we could not previously have done. So you may find these chords in the songs you play, you may not, but if you do, then this is how you play them. So we've got 4 shapes. From the F, we've got the F major, then we've got the F minor, then we've got the F7, and the minor 7th. Of course, being the major has all the fingers down, the minor you lift off the 2nd finger, the 7th you lift off the 4th finger, and the minor 7th you lift off the 2nd finger and the 4th finger. 4 shapes of bar chords. Right, so we've got the bar chords all worked out now. We know the root notes, we know how to put our 1st finger down as a bar, and we know the 4 shapes of major, minor 7th and minor 7th. So it's time we started playing some songs with them. So let's have a look at a couple of chord progressions that I've written for them. The first one is a relatively simple one, it's just 4 bars in length. It starts off with a chord of E, which we'll do as an open E. Then we have a chord of F sharp minor. So F sharp is on the 2nd fret, that's our root note there. So we put down the bar, and we play the minor shape. Remember that the minor shape is with all the fingers down, and then you lift off the second finger. So that's F sharp minor. Then we're up 2 frets from there to G sharp minor. So G sharp is on the 4th fret for the root note. Then the finger goes down onto the bar, and then these 2 fingers go down, or all the fingers, and lift the second off, and we have a G sharp minor now. And then the last chord is an A chord. Now we won't do an open A chord, we'll do a bar chord of A instead. So we go up to the 5th fret, which is the root note of A, we put the bar down, and then we put all our fingers down for the major shape. So that's our 4 chords. One bar of E, 1 bar of F sharp minor, 1 bar of G sharp minor, and then 1 bar of A. So let's try and play it. I just strum it for the time being. So we'll do the basic strum as we learn the bar chords. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quite a simple sort of a standard chord progression there. It's been used in many songs. It's nothing particularly tricky or interesting about it there. So I'll just play it for you again. This time I'll finger pick it. We'll see what it sounds like then. A different sound again. It's important that you try and fingerpick this and strum it at the same time there, because it will make you learn the chords a lot better. The chords are difficult to hold down at the best of times, and by fingerpicking them you'll really pick up whether you're holding them down properly or not. So that's the first song. E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, and then A. Let's go on and learn the next song now. Now this is called the Snazzy Jazzy Blues progression. It's just a custom made blues progression that I've written, which we've just to design and get you using the bar chords there. We'll have a look at the chords first. The first bar is a B minor 7th chord, so we go to the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The B is the root note on the 7th fret. We put down the bar, we put down all our fingers, and then we play the minor 7th shape. So do the minor 7th, we lift off the 2nd finger and the 4th finger. There's our minor 7th. The next chord after that is an A chord, so A is on the 5th fret with the root note, bar, and then a major shape. And then it repeats that again. Then it's got a half a bar of F7. So F is here on the 1st fret, the bar goes down, we play the 7th shape. So to get the 7th shape, you lift off the 4th finger, and then half a bar of G7. G is on the 3rd fret, so the bar is on the 3rd fret, then the 7th shape goes down, and then another whole bar of A. And then it repeats that again. So F7, bar on the 1st fret, 7th shape, G7, bar on the 3rd fret, 7th shape, and then the A chord, bar on the 5th fret. And then there's a little bridge in there as well. So what you do is you play through that verse part twice, and then you do the bridge. And let's have a look at what chords the bridge is using. First chord is half a bar of C, or a whole bar of C minor. So C is on the 8th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's where our bar is, getting quite high on the guitar now. And then the minor shape. So we'll play the major shape, and we'll just lift off our 2nd finger to get the minor shape. And then a D minor. So D is on the 10th fret, so it's 2 frets up from there, and it's the minor shape again. See how when I play the minor, I actually can sometimes plant my 2nd finger down here against the 1st finger to hold it down extra hard. You're welcome to do that if you want to as well, but you shouldn't need to sometimes. Sometimes it can just sit in the middle like that, but generally I like to put it down there and clamp it down a bit harder. But you can only do it on the minor shape. And then we've got another half bar of C minor, half a bar of D minor, and then a whole bar of A. So that's quite a long piece there. It'll really be good practice for your bar chords. It'll get you so that your hands are starting to really ache, which is it's a good thing. If you get pain is gain type thing, but don't overdo it there. You don't want to strain any muscles or anything, but your hands will get sore for a while. What I'm going to do now is play that song through for you twice. The first time I'll just play it with one of our classic strums and a standard strum type combination, and the second time I'll play it with more of a bluesy type strum, a custom strum. You can try it yourself either way, again remembering that the most important thing is to keep it all in time. Anyway, I'll play it now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, quite long, and it'll really get you working hard on this hand to get these bar chords really, really good. I'll play it for you again now. This time I'll put in a more of a customized strum like I said. It's quite fun this way. So that makes it a bit different again. Bar chords open up possibilities for us that we couldn't previously do with open chords. We get sounds out of the guitar and new shapes and all this that we couldn't previously do with open chords. So really make the effort to learn them, and like I say, they will be very difficult, and it'll be a couple of months before you really are able to hold them down properly. But do try and keep on trying.